Hello students, today we'll see the third part in Unit 5 History. So we'll start with the Hindu revivalism. So far we have completed up to Brahma Samaj and Prarthana Samaj, right? So Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Rai and Prarthana Samaj was founded by Atmaram Pandurang. Now we'll start with the Hindu revivalism. So revivalism means to make something strong. Okay, Swami Dayanand Saraswati and Arya Samaj 1875. In the Punjab, the reform movement was spearheaded by the Arya Samaj. It was founded by a wandering ascetic in the western Gangetic plain, Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Swami Dayanand later settled in the Punjab to preach his ideas. His book Satyartha Prakash enjoyed wide circulation. He declared the practices such as child marriage, the prohibition of widow remarriage, and the alleged polluting effects of foreign travel had no scriptural sanction. The positive principles enunciated by Dayanand were strict monotheism, condemnation of idolatry, rejection of Brahmin domination of ritual and social practices. He also rejects superstitious beliefs in Hinduism and his cry was go back to Vedas. So like the Brahma Samaj and Prarthana Samaj, there is a Samaj in Punjab. So Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Rai and Prarthana Samaj was founded by Atmaram Pandurang. But here in Punjab, there is a reform movement which is named as Arya Samaj and it was founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati. He belongs to the Gangetic plain. So he settled in Punjab to spread his ideas. So he wrote a book. The name of the book is Satyartha Prakash. So it has read by the worldwide people and his words, his thoughts are the child marriages should be stopped, widow remarriage should be encouraged and the foreign travel is not considered as a polluting effect. So this is his words and he told that these things had no scriptural sanction. So these things are not declared in the old traditional books and these are all the words which are spreaded by the Swami Dayanand Saraswati. And also another positive principles are also spreaded by him. They are strict monotheism, anti-idolatry, rejection of Brahmin domination of ritual. So we know what is monotheism, worship of one God. Anti-idolatry means people are not allowed to worship with the image and the rejection of Brahmin domination of ritual. So normally the rituals will be handled by the Brahmins, right? So that they should not do like that. So the Brahmin domination should be rejected. And also he rejects the superstitious beliefs. That is, superstitious means people had extraordinary belief in Hinduism. So the motive of Arya Samaj is somewhat similar to the Brahma Samaj. No? So the motive of Brahma Samaj is also to stop the child marriage, to encourage the widow remarriage and also to stop the polygamy. So instead of polygamy, here they have included the foreign travel is not considered as a polluting effect. So that's all. Somewhat it is similar to the Brahma Samaj. And also he advised the people to go back to the Vedas. Arya Samaj attempted to check the incidence of religious conversion in British India. One of its main objectives was counter-conversion, prescribing a purificatory ceremony called Shuddhi, directed at Hindus who had converted to Islam and Christianity. So the Arya Samaj stopped the religious conversion in British India. So the Arya Samaj reconvert the people. So it reconvert the people who are converted to Islam and Christianity. So the Hindus who are converted to Islam and Christianity had been reconverted by the Arya Samaj. So for that they started a ceremony which is known as Shuddhi. The primary achievement of the Arya Samaj were in the field of social reform and spread of education, the Samaj started a number of Dayananda Anglo-Vedic schools and colleges. So Arya Samaj has achieved their motto in social reform and education. So after this they have started a number of schools, that is Dayananda Anglo-Vedic schools, that is DAV schools and colleges. Ramakrishna Parahamsa. Ramakrishna, a simple priest of Dakshineshwar near Kolkata, emphasized the spiritual union with God through ecstatic practices such as singing bhajanas. An ardent worshipper of goddess Kali, the sacred mother, he declared that the manifestations of the divine mother were infinite. In his view, all religions contain the universal elements which, if practiced, would lead to salvation. He said, Jiva is Shiva. All living beings are God. Service for man must be regarded as God. Ramakrishna Parahamsa is a priest in Kolkata. Priest in the sense we'll call it as Pujari, no? So he is a priest, and also what he told is through singing bhajanas we can join to God spiritually. Ramakrishna worshipped the goddess Kali. So according to him, he told that the divine mother, that is the goddess Kali's blessing were unlimited, that is infinite. So according to him, all the religion that contain the common element of all the people in the world. So, and also he said Jiva is Shiva, that is all the living beings are God. All the living beings are considered as God. So if we want to do something to God, if we want to do our service to God, we need to do the service for man. So it must be regarded as the service for God. Ramakrishna Mission. Ramakrishna's primary achievement was his ability to attract educated youth who were dissatisfied with the rational orientation of religious reform organizations such as the Brahmo Samaj. After his death in 1886, his disciples organized themselves as a religious community and undertook the task of making his life and teaching known in India and abroad. The chief spirit behind this task was Vivekananda. Following the organizational structure of Christian missionaries, Vivekananda established the Ramakrishna Mission, which did not restrict itself to religious activities but was actively involved in social causes such as education, healthcare and relief in times of calamities. The educated youth who left the Brahmo Samaj were attracted by the policies of Ramakrishna and they joined with him. So this is considered as the primary achievement of Ramakrishna. So after his death in 1886, he has lot of youth followers. So they started to spread his policies and his life in India and abroad. So behind this task, Vivekananda was the leader for this people, for this followers. So Vivekananda, he started a mission which is known as Ramakrishna Mission, and the activities of the mission is not limited with the religious things. So the activity of Ramakrishna Mission is not limited with the religious things, but also they will involve in the social causes such as education, healthcare and relief in times of calamities. Calamities means any natural disaster. So the people who are under this Ramakrishna Mission will voluntarily involve themselves to help the people at the time of any natural disaster. Swami Vivekananda. Narendranath Datta, later known as Swami Vivekananda, was the prime follower of Ramakrishna Parahamsa. An educated youth, he was drawn to Ramakrishna's message. Dissatisfied with conventional philosophical positions and practices, he advocated the practical Vedanta of service to humanity and attacked the tendency to defend every institution simply because it was connected with religion. He emphasized a cultural nationalism and made a call to Indian youth to regenerate Hindu society. His ideas bred a sense of self-confidence among Indians who felt inferior in relation to the materialist achievements of the West. He became famous for his addresses on Hinduism at the 1893 World Congress of Religions in Chicago. Despite his fame, he was condemned by Orthodox Hindus for suggesting that the lower caste should be allowed to engage in the Hindu rituals from which they were traditionally excluded. Vivekananda's activist ideology rekindled the desire for political change among many Western education young Bengalis. Many of the youths who were involved in the militant nationalist struggle during the Swadeshi movement following the partition of Bengal were inspired by Vivekananda. So Swami Vivekananda, his original name is Narendranath Datta, but he is called by the people as Swami Vivekananda. He is also one of the followers of Ramakrishna Parahamsa. He is influenced by the messages of Ramakrishna Parahamsa, and also he is not satisfied with the philosophical position, and he advised the people to do the practical service, that is practical Vedanta service to humans. He formed a cultural nationalism, and he advised the Indian youth to regenerate the Hindu society. And also the Western people, they have achieved a lot in material department. So the Indians, they felt inferior about this. So they became self-confident after hearing the ideas and the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda. He addressed Hinduism in the World Congress of Religion in Chicago. So after this, he became famous. And also the lower caste people, the lower caste Hindu peoples are not allowed to participate in the Hindu rituals. So he argued that all the Hindu peoples should be allowed to participate in the Hindu rituals. So Vivekananda's speech and his ideas and thoughts attract many young Bengal people. So they have participated in the militant nationalism at the time of Swadeshi movement. So they are inspired by Swami Vivekananda. Theosophical movement. The Theosophical Society was founded by Madam H.P. Blavatsky and Colonel H.S. Olcott. Founded in the USA in 1875, it later shifted to India at Adayar, Chennai in 1886. Theosophical Society stimulated a study of the Hindu classics, especially the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. The Theosophical Society also played an important role in the revival of Buddhism in India. Western interest in Hindu scriptures gave educated Hindus great pride in their tradition and culture. So the Theosophical movement was founded by Madam H.P. Blavatsky and H.S. Olcott. So it started in USA first, then it shifted to India, that is in Chennai, Adayar. So the Theosophical Society, it encouraged the people to study the Hindu classics, especially the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. Through this Theosophical movement, Buddhism has came again in India. So the Western people, they started to indulge their interest in Hindu scriptures. So the Hindu people, they felt proud about their tradition and culture. Contribution of Annie Besant. In India, the movement became further popular with the election of Annie Besant as its president after the death of Olcott. She played a role in Indian nationalist politics and formed the Home Rule League, demanding home rule to India on the lines of Ireland. Annie Besant spread theosophical ideas through her newspapers called New India and Commonwealth. So after the death of Olcott, Annie Besant became the president of Theosophical movement. So she involved herself in the Indian nationalist politics and she formed the Home Rule movement. She demanded that, like Ireland, they should give the Home Rule League to India to rule themselves. So she spread her theosophical ideas through her newspapers, which are named as New India and Commonwealth. Anti-caste movements. Jyotiba Phule. Jyotiba Govindarao Phule was born in 1827 in Maharashtra. He opened the first school for untouchables in 1852 in Pune. He launched the Satya Shodhak Samaj, that is Truth Seeker Society, in 1870 to stir the non-Brahmin masses to self-respect. Phule opposed child marriage and supported widow remarriage. Jyotiba and his wife Savitribai Phule devoted their lives for the uplift of the depressed classes and women. Jyotiba opened orphanages and homes for widows. His work, Gulamgiri, is an important text that summarized many of his radical ideas. So now we are going to learn about the movements which oppose the caste. So the first person is Jyotiba Phule. So he born in Maharashtra. So he opened the first school for untouchable people. And also he launched the Samaj, which is named as the Satya Shodhak Samaj. So it is started for the people, that is the non-Brahmin people want to live their life with self-respect and self-confidence. So for that he launched a society, that is Satya Shodhak Samaj. And also he also opposed to child marriage and he promoted the widow remarriage. So he and his wife name is Savitribai Phule. So he and his wife dedicated their life to improve the life of the depressed class people, that is lower classes. So he and his wife, they dedicated their life to improve the life of lower class people and women. So they started the orphanages. So hope you know what is orphanages, right? They started the orphanages and homes for widows. So his book, which is named as Gulamgiri, so it consists the ideas of Jyotiba Phule. Narayana Guru. Born to poor parents in Kerala, Narayana Guru evolved into a poet and scholar in Malayalam, Tamil and Sanskrit. Disturbed by the terrible caste tyranny that the lower caste people suffered, he dedicated his whole life for the betterment of the oppressed. He set up the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam, an organization to work for the uplift of the depressed classes. He established a grand temple at Aruvipuram and dedicated it to all. Thinkers and writers such as Kumaran Azan and Dr. Palpu were influenced by his ideas and carried forward the movement. So Narayana Guru was born to a poor parents in Kerala. So he is a poet and also he is a great scholar in 3 languages, that is Tamil, Sanskrit and Malayalam. So he dedicated his life to improve the life of lower class people because they have suffered a lot. So he want to improve their life. So for that he started an organization which is named as Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam to improve the life of lower class people. He built a temple at Aruvipuram and he dedicated it common to all people. So the thinkers and writers, they are Kumaran Azan and Dr. Palpu. So they were influenced by Narayana Guru and they followed him and they forward the movement, that is Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam was forward by Kumaran Azan and Dr. Palpu. Ayyankali. Ayyankali was born in 1863 at Venganur in Thiruvananthapuram, then in the princely state of Travancore. The discrimination he faced as a child turned him into a leader of an anti-caste movement and who later fought for basic rights including access to public spaces and entry to schools. Inspired by Sri Narayana Guru, Ayyankali founded the Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangam, Association for the Protection of the Poor in 1907. So Ayyankale was born in Thiruvananthapuram. So at the time of his birth, Travancore's government ruled the state. So he faced the caste discrimination in his childhood. So this turned him to become a leader of anti-caste movement. So after that, he fought for the basic rights of people. That is, many people are not allowed. They are considered as untouchable people and they are not allowed to enter into the public spaces and to the schools. So he fought for that. He fought for the basic rights for the lower class peoples. And also he inspired by Sri Narayana Guru. So Narayana Guru founded a Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam, right? So after that, Ayyankale, he founded the Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangam to protect the poor people.